Okay, so this is gonna be the third video of this little blog series thing. I'm also realizing I wore this shirt in one of the other videos. It doesn't really matter. The point of this one is going over the actual plan, and if I do this right, I will be able to have I'm typing next to this video. Something tells me I'm probably gonna somehow mess that up. But we're gonna figure that out anyways. Or worst case, I'll just screenshot it and put it into this video. Either way, so yeah, that is the point of this video. Also, I'm enjoying some of my Elijah Craig barrel proof. I bought this in Kentucky at the hill climb. You know, the event that I was coming home from that I wrecked my car at, or coming home from. So it seemed mildly fitting. But the plan I'm gonna do with this video is, I guess, type out all the stuff I want to do, need to do, gotta do. And so I've got it listed in a format, and then so I can start working off and then kind of source out how that's coming along. I haven't got any parts yet, still. And I've added some things I want to do or may need to do, because it's been brought to my attention that some things have been brought to my attention that might need to be addressed as well, that I hadn't quite thought about, but are realistically probably a thing. So that is that. So yeah, so you're following me as I start making this list of things up, and in theory, as I'm typing it, I'm gonna edit this right. It's probably not gonna work out very well. It will gotcha, bitch. Got it. It will show up on screen as I'm typing it and I'm talking to you in more depth. The obvious stuff is the fact that I've got to do the body work. I mean, that goes without saying. The body work stuff has got to be addressed and fixed, because it got messed up. And that's that. And this is not working out the way I want to so far, but anyways, I gotta address the body work stuff. So front bumper cover, rear bumper cover, and the right side skirt. Now the rear bumper cover, technically I wouldn't have to. I can maybe reuse what I got, because what I plan, like I said, my plan is to cut a lot of it off so that I don't have to. Plan is I want to cut a lot of it off to get rid of kind of the parachutey aspects of it that are still there. So in theory, I could reuse my current rear bumper. It's got some paint damage, but again, the plan is to wrap the whole car, so doesn't necessarily matter. I could, ghetto repair the paint damage enough to make it suitable for wrap, but definitely need a front bumper cover. Definitely need a a whole right side skirt. That is just how that's gonna be. Why is this not working? There we go. Stupid computer. There we go. So front bumper cover, rear bumper cover, right hand side skirt. Ideally, whatever parts I do get for this, they're already painted, and paint and clear coat is in decent shape. That's gonna be perfect. Ideally, ideally they would be black. It'd be great. But the color doesn't really matter, because again, plan is to wrap the whole car, which is, again, not gonna be cheap, but the whole point of this whole rebuild process at this point is the fact that stuff I've been wanting to do for a while, but I never wanted down the car that long to do them. Car's down, so might as well take this opportunity to do the things that I've been wanting to do. So wrap was one of them, because it's 5 different shades of black. The quick overview of that, the hardtop, it's fiberglass hardtop, that's black gel coat, and I just had clear coat added onto it, so the gel coat would be last. The doors, front fenders, rear fenders / quarter panels, hood, Side skirts are all the original black that came on the car. So now we're at 2 shades of black. Yeah. Front bumper has been repainted a couple times because of rock chips. Lot guy at work, so that's 3 shades of black. Rear bumper has been repainted a couple times because a girl I dated some years ago, her dad backed into the car, messed it up, had to repaint the bumper. So that's 4 shades of black. Front bumper, rear bumper, body, hood, or roof. Oh, and the trunk. When I got the wing, I got a new trunk because the old trunk I had all the holes from the Blackbird spoiler. So the trunk was painted by a body shop. So essentially, 5 different shades of black. They're all supposed to be based on, well, 4 of them, minus the top, are all the brilliant black pearl, or some variation of it. But, different times, faded paint versus new paint, old paint. So realistically, it's 5 different shades of black. And in pictures and video, you can really tell. But you walk up to it on a sunny day, it's like, bruh, it's bad. So I've been wanting to wrap the car for a while. I haven't quite decided on color of the car. Yet I have thought, I like the black. Black is the new black. You never can go wrong with black. That being said, I might as well do something nice, like something different. I want to do a matte color of some kind. I don't want to do gloss because I feel like gloss will show scratches more with wrap. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know jack shit about wrap, but I feel like a gloss wrap would show scratches and stuff wrong or more. It's gonna get scratched and dinged up from rock chips, especially at the hill climbs. And as I try to get into more track day stuff and continue to do the autocross, it's gonna get. I feel like the gloss would show damage more. It also won't picture as well. Alec gets what photography. He does all the pictures at all the hill climbs and a lot of pictures of my car. He has had constant issues with taking pictures of my car to no fault of his own. It's just the paint, and it's the Mazda paint. It's just so glossy. It looks good in person. Photographs terribly on a sunny day. And he can only do so much, and it's not his fault. On a cloudy day, it's choice. But think about a matte color. So like a matte black. I even thought about like a matte gunmetal, or I might go with a obnoxious color. Don't know yet. But that is the plan for that. So wrap the car. Color is undecided. Is learn how to spell. Gotcha. And this list is not gonna be in the order in which it's gonna be done. It's the order in which I'm recalling in my head. The next thing is I wanted to do the crash bars from. I'm pausing because I want to make sure I say his name correctly. Yes. All right, Charlie Mua. He does a lot of crash bars and a lot of cool fabrication stuff, a lot of Honda stuff and NA and Bs, and he's been wanting and has made talks and mentions of doing crash bars for the NC. It takes some weight off the car, and would realistically probably be stronger than the factory crash bar, and would create more room behind the bumper area for just in general, which is really helpful because my intake air filter sits behind the front bumper, and I can technically touch it because I don't have a grill anymore through there, but getting it out around the factory crash bar kind of sucks. His bar, so much more room for activities. Plus, it will come built-in provisions for splitter rods, choice, as well as a tow hook provision. The factory crash bar already has that, but his will have that too, presumably, because all those other ones have. So, takes some weight off the car, more room behind the bumper, stronger, and it contours the shape of the bumper, so it's a win-win-win. So, Charlie Mua or the Doryoku, there we go, had to look it up. Crash bars. That is the plan for that. Whenever he does get around to it, he's got other business to do, and he's got a life. He will do them when he gets to them. So, yeah. Front and rear, because I'm not just going to do the one. That's stupid. Front and rear, obviously, and cut the rear bumper to be basically flush with that bar, whenever comes out. That's the plan for that. So the crash bars, the bumpers, trunk. In the accident, the wing ripped the trunk. That being said, in the trunk's defense, in the wreck's defense, I guess, where the wing mounts to the trunk, those spots were already cracking on the trunk. I mean, the wing is not super heavy, but it's not light. It's a 30-pound wing. And, well, it is aluminum, still a lot of weight, and the downforce on it was pushing on the trunk lid. So the trunk was already cracked on those spots. And then the accident just caused the wing to flex back, rip holes in the trunk, and then also rip the trunk backwards. So I need a trunk. The company who makes my hardtop, CCP, they fiberglass hardtop. They make a lot of body panels for my car, fiberglass hood. They do a whole fastback. Don't want it. They also do doors. If I had crash bars on the side, I'd look into it, but I don't, so that's not even an option right now for me. They also do a fiberglass trunk, and they've talked to me for the past few years about interest in getting it, and I've wanted it, but they flat out said the trunk they make would not support the weight of any wing. So I never did it. Well, I need a trunk, might as well do that one. Probably going to cost me the same as getting an OEM trunk or even a used trunk, because Miata tax. Not as bad as an A and B's, but you get my drift. So I'm going to do the CCP trunk, not the duckbill one. I don't like duckbills on anything at all. Just not a fan. Never liked it on any car. It also adds material, which adds weight. I won't even doing that. The whole point of the fiberglass trunk was to cut weight. Since I will be doing the fiberglass trunk, brings me to my next thing, the wing. The wing, from what I can tell, airfoil is not damaged. I've not gone in depth and examined it intensely yet, but airfoil itself is not damaged. So I realistically have two options for the wing. I either make custom mounts for the airfoil I have to chassis mount and figure out how a way to do that, or I buy a wing from another company that already is designed to chassis mount and I just bolt and put on the car. Those are really my options. One guy I know out in California, he's an NC. He has the same airfoil I do. He mounted his airfoil to the chassis by bolting it to his wing stands, risers, whatever you're gonna call them. I don't know the technical term off the top of my head. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. All three of you that watch. But he had wing stand, risers, mounts, whatever, designed that bolted it to where the rear crash bar bolts on the body. He doesn't have a rear crash bar anymore. He didn't need it anymore for what he was doing because it's not street driven, so it's just trailer to track. He didn't care for it. I highly consider doing that. My problem with doing that is, if you happen to recall or didn't know, I had a tire trailer I was using for at least a season and a half of autocross hill climb to carry my tires and equipment to events. It's also, by the way, it looks really cool when you see a Miata race car with big splitter, big wing, pulling a trailer with tires on it behind it. It's the coolest thing. Some of my favorite pictures of the car are with this trailer pulling through it. There's one where I'm going through the Cumberland Gap Tunnel from the Pine Mountain Hill climb. It's cool. Anyways, towing with that trailer, small Harbor Freight trailer, nothing crazy, damaged the car significantly. And this is way before the wreck. Because the hitch I had was, I'm just gonna say it because I don't really care, the Flying Miata hitch. It goes between the body of the car and the crash bar. So you unbolt the crash bar and it literally just sandwiches in between, and then you bolt the crash bar between it and you use the factory crash bar bolt or nuts and the studs on the body, and it just, you torque it tight and it just is pinched between the two. And the concept, it's a great concept if you're not towing anything. Like, you can use a bike rack, sure. I was doing a tire trailer, not super heavy, but towing with it was causing the flanges on the flanges, but the studs come off the body, like the body of the car. It was ripping the car. There's actual cracks and tears where the body's being ripped from towing. I towed it to Norton twice, Dragon twice, so I think 4 or 5 hill climbs, each 4 hours there, 4 hours back. So you figure 40 hours of towing time to hill climbs, plus towing it to autocrosses multiple times. A lot of towing time on it. I don't know the mileage, doesn't really matter. Towing with a car that, per the manufacturer, Mazda, you're not supposed to tow anything with it. So it was tearing the body. So which, when I thought about doing the wing mounting that way, I was like, don't feel right. It doesn't feel like it'd be a good idea because the downforce pushing on it on an area that's already torn, and I could weld it, have it welded back, but it's like, how reliable is that going to be? You know, I mean, if you open the trunk, you can actually see the tears in there because my trunk is gutted, and just little spot where you can see it because of this way the body shape. So that went out the window. So which brings me back to getting custom mounts made for the current airfoil I have, which is no longer being produced, or buy an entire new wing from another company where if something does happen, I can just buy, I need this part, I can just buy it from it. I'm still unsure what to do about it. The company that makes the wing and airfoil I have, they've been fantastic to deal with, and I absolutely don't want to burn that bridge. This is crooked. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, company, the airfoil wing I have, they've been fantastic. I've been working with them for a few years now. They do my splitter as well, and absolutely love working with them. I'm trying to think of my future plan of, if something happens, I don't want to have some money on a custom wing mount for an airfoil that's no longer available. And if I damage it, then I'm back to where I'm at now, where I have to buy a whole wing at that point anyways. So it's like, do I do something custom mounting for this, or just go get the wing? And there's the also thing, how much will a custom mounting setup cost me to have made up and done and figure out how to make it work versus just buying this other wing from the other company. It's something I've actually been like, it's been really kind of bugging me. I'm not sure what to do because I don't want to have to buy a new wing from this other company, but I also don't want to burn the bridge with Race Red, because I love them. They've been fantastic in every possible way, but it's like, best bang for my dollar, what I got to spend, what I'm gonna have to spend, and what could happen in the future. So that's where I'm at with that. So wing mounts / replace wing. So that's that. Okay, next part, as mentioned, the splitter. Splitter took a super massive L. The front of the cars took a lot of the hit. Again, I've not posted the wreck video up, and I'm not gonna, so you won't worry about seeing that. You probably won't see it. I've showed it to some people. I'm just not posting it. But the front took, obviously, the pictures took a lot of the damage. Splitter included. Splitter got destroyed. So need splitter mount brackets. I need to hold the splitter blade. All that. So what I want to do is, again, I want to Race Red splitter, because they have got, I love their splitters. I've gone through a few of them, not because their parts bad, it's because, like, I just beat the shit out of them. It's a consumable. That's why they've made it out of honeycomb infused birch wood, because they know it's gonna break and get damaged. So it helps make it cheaper for them to do it that way, because they know you're gonna have to replace it. I've replaced it 2 or 3 times because wear and tear, and just, I even hit something on the road once. So new Race Red splitter. I loved the one I had, the sizing of it. I'm gonna have some changes made. It was fully round around all the way from the front middle all the way to the sides. I want the ends to be flattened to run their wing or splitter end plates. Need help. Run the tire spats as well. They also have splitter tunnels they now offer. So I want to do those as well. And I would also need their splitter mount brackets again because, again, destroyed mine. Bad. So this, and then I want the splitter blade to, this intersection to go back as far as it can toward the front subframe to alleviate the need for an additional skid plate. Just the splitter can be the skid plate. It's the idea. As far back as they can get it to go because they have shipping limitations on sizes. So as far as I can go back, and then I will find a way to clear up whatever gap is left over, if there happens to be any. But this splitter tunnel thing, the problem with the NC bumper, pretty much all of them, is that it comes out like this. So imagine cars facing this way, hood, bumper, and then it curves back down like this. And so the bottom of the bumper sits here, and the splitter tunnels, there just is not enough room behind the bumper for the splitter tunnel. So what I'm gonna do is cut off the bottom section of the front bumper, and where it comes down like this, more or less, full air dam. I'm gonna do a massive, giant, tall air dam, like you see in a lot of NA and B guys do, and a lot of other cars. Full front air dam, which will allow me to delete the ugly turn signal side marker lights in the NC. I don't like them. I just take them off and be covered. I don't care for them. I think they look stupid. They really do. So front air dam, which will allow me to do the splitter tunnels and better airflow, better aero, and as well as doing that, you got to cut a hole in the middle for the airflow to the radiator. I will be trying as best as I can ghetto mock up a little box that will slide in that is just open, like a box with open on both ends essentially, that will push nut in to allow air that allows airflow to go in and not elsewhere behind the bumper. But I can also quickly remove it so I can again change the earlier mentioned air filter behind the bumper. That is the plan. I'm hoping you can see what I'm talking about based on my description. So front bumper, and then all this kind of stuff deleted, not all of it, but some of it. Front air dam straight down, hole in there for the airflow to the radiator, and then imagine you take a cardboard box, open on both sides, slide it in, but make a lip on the one side that push tabs or bolts in with riv nuts or something onto the air dam, so that air goes into it, and then I can undo it to pull it out so I can access stuff behind the bumper. That is the plan for that. Ideally. Worst case is I just deal with the regular front bumper and I don't do the splitter tunnels. I would like to do the splitter tunnels. They seem like they work, and it supports race spread, which again, I want to do that as much as I possibly can. So that's that. So let me add this to the list. So new upgraded splitter blade with end plates, tunnels, new tire spats because those also got destroyed, and then front bumper air dam and air dam box in quotes. I'm not sure how else to say that. That's what we'll call it. So that, okay, so that covers that. Fix the diffuser. The diffuser itself is not really damaged. The mount thing on it is bent. Try to come up with something better, or something a little stronger, or something that will mount better. But nothing. The diffuser itself is not damaged. It's just way it mounted to the car got messed up. So that's gonna have to get fixed. So repair, quote upgrade diffuser. That's pretty straightforward. It's already mounted the car easily. Have to get new splitter rods to mount that, and a third one in the middle. Nothing super wild there. the radiator. One of the mounts that's welded to the in tank of the radiator on the top right mount snapped off. Now, realistically, the cheaper option would be to pull the radiator off and take it and have it somewhere welded. And that is a viable option. I'm not going to knock it. But my thing is, I got to take it off the car anyways. And I would rather upgrade, because I have a regular CSF radiator on it, which is not bad. But I want to bulletproof, not having any heating concerns. I don't yet, but I want to make sure I never do. I mean, it gets hot in the summer, hot at hill climbs. You're in line at a hill climb for 30, 45 minutes because, waiting your turn to go up. And if there's a wreck or something like that, you leave your car running, turn it off, yada, yada. I just don't have to worry about heating. So I'm looking at a couple of triple pass radiators that are specifically, obviously, for the NC. So I'm looking at getting one of those. Now, there's two options. There's a 38 millimeter one and a big, thick, nasty 42 millimeter. I don't think I'll need the 42 millimeter. I don't have any intentions of going like super crazy with horsepower. 38 one makes you more than fine. And again, it's a triple pass. So 1, 2, 3, more than enough. Shouldn't have to worry about it. Bar damage actually happening to the radiator, which doesn't matter what radiator you got in it. If a rock goes through it, it's FUBAR. So. And with that, the old radiator I have, I could take it out and have it fixed and set aside as a, hey, we get it back up to get the car mobile for the time being. It's more costly to replace it, but it's also a smart upgrade to mitigate whatever heat issues that I could have in the future. And I just don't want to have to worry about it, period. So that's the plan. Triple pass radiator. I how to spell stupid. From Goodwin Racing. I believe CSF makes them for them. I think Goodwin just. Hold on. Hair in my mouth. I think Goodwin just throws their logo on it. Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. So that's that. Right rear, 2 control arms got bent, messed up. One got bent and completely snapped off of its mounting flange onto the knuckle. Now, that thing is just unbolting, that flange comes off. I replaced the 2 control arms. Pretty straightforward thing. Buy new arms, put on car. And then one of them's a camber thing, so I gotta realign it, which sucks. So, but nothing crazy there. Right rear, control arms. That's something crazy there. The next thing I had mentioned before, I think the previous video, the rear subframe kind of got, I don't think it got like smushed, like part of it got kind of pushed up, which kind of is pushing the rear diff brace. I have the PPF brace I have up into the exhaust. So I'm hoping I can kind of massage some of that stuff out of the squishiness out of the subframe a little bit, just enough. It's not the structural parts of the frame, it's like mini arms inside it. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully I can do that, so and then not have to replace your subframe. Pretty sure the PPF brace is gonna have to be replaced, unfortunately. So I'm going to list that as a potential thing I gotta replace. And rear subframe, quote unquote, repair. Hopefully I don't have to replace it. Again, if I do, you can get it separate. It's just you have to deal with that, which would not be fun at all. But that's that. It is what it is. What else was there? Wheels. So I'd mentioned before the Essex big brake kit that I have for the front that I got from them. I gotta find wheels that'll clear it. I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video. The only 2 wheels I know that do clear are the 949 6ULs they've made for the NC for a little while, which they don't currently offer. And I just found out today They don't plan on offering them again until early 2026. Well, that sucks. The other wheel I know for sure fits is the Wet Sport TC105N, now X. So the two wheels I know for sure fit are a wheel that's unobtainium and a wheel that's $650 a piece. And I need 8. 4 for the Hoosiers, 4 for the daily slash wet tires. So 8 wheels. So I gotta find wheels that fit. The plan is to bolt the caliper bracket and the rotor to the car, and just find people who've got wheels that are 17x9s and similar, very comparable offset and not super heavy, and just throw them on the car and see what clears the caliper. That's the plan. I spent this past weekend actually at an event, this past weekend, as in yesterday and today, at a driving school in autocross that we put on at Michelin Proving Grounds, and there was a couple NCs there, and I saw one. He had the Willwood kit, which sucks, but I only mentioned it because he had PFO1s on the car, and there was a lot of clearance between the Willwood caliper and the spoke of the wheel. So I'm thinking if I can find someone with a PFO1, 17x9 PFO1, just throw on the car and it clears. They're not super expensive. They're only marginally heavier than the RPF1. Looks good. I'll do that. That being said, I looked into it today to get. So the only 17x9 PFO1 they have is the PF1 SS. It's like their super light version of it, and they only offer in 17x9 and 17x8. They only offer in like 2 sizes. 17x9 is one of them, and it's 5x114. So if I can find someone one of those wheels, throw it in the car, if it clears, and I know it does, bam, I can then sell the RPF ones and put that money towards buying 8 PFO ones. It's a lot, but that's what I gotta do. Put a spray kit in the car, or find other wheels that will clear. I got a couple people I know who've got Koenigs on their cars, various Koenigs that aren't super heavy, and I can just, they've already told me I can test fit one on when I get to that point. So find wheels that clear AP caliper. Yeah. On to the next thing. I was talking with my buddy Connor today. Actually, he was one of the instructors at the school yesterday that I was working. We were riding. All of us were driving to dinner, and we were talking about. And he was riding with me. We were talking about my car in the wreck, and he asked about the seat, and he made a good point. As far as I can tell, there's no damage to the seat. But that being said, it is a fiberglass shell seat, and it's kind of like a helmet. Once you get in an accident, you're supposed to replace your helmet. At least that's what I've always been told and led to believe. And the seats is another one of those things that's kind of like, you really should replace the seat. That being said, I don't know if there's any actual damage to it. I'm going to talk with people who are smarter and doing this a lot longer than I have been, what their thoughts are on that, because it was involved in an accident. And if the general common consensus CYA is replace a seat, it's gonna suck. But I don't know what internal damage could happen to the structure of the seat, without, taking it apart, which would then, again, obviously destroy the seat. But it was involved in a gnarly accident, and common sense would dictate you would replace that seat. So I will likely have to replace the seat. That being said, again, I don't see any actual damage to it. So realistically, my plan would be worst case in that, for that item, buy a new seat, unfortunately, and take the current seat and mount it in the car as an autocross passenger seat. Should be plenty fine for an autocross because I don't see any visible cracks or damage. Should be good to take passengers in an autocross. And the plan is to, because I already have the passenger side seat mount bracket still, put it in and then just put a regular seatbelt in, because harnesses are a pain to adjust when you got random people with different sizes and shapes sitting in your seat to take it along that autocross ride along. Regular 3-point belt running through the seat slots will work fine, especially for autocross. So if I'm convinced and shown that I really should replace the seat for the competition stuff, I will take the current OMP HTER 400 and keep it as a autocross ride along passenger seat, potentially like, as a drive around town passenger seat. Beyond that. That being said, as far as like a replacement seat, I don't want to get another OMP if I do have to replace a seat. They're good seats, but like anytime I've had to get anything from OMP, it's been kind of a hassle. And if I can not deal with that hassle, great. Also, if I can, another thing is like the seat covering. I replaced it once on a previous seat. It took 4 months to get it. It's irritating. It's crap. And OMPs are arguably they're understandably not cheap. Nor should any good seat be cheap. But just getting anything from OMP has just been a nightmare and irritating and hard to find. And so the seat I would realistically like to get is the Mazda Motorsports seat from MPI. It's the MPX 07, but Mazda Motorsports has a special version where on the back seat area here, instead of saying MPI, it says Mazda Motorsports. And it's also $200 cheaper than the regular version of it, I think, because the idea is only people who are going to buy it are Mazda people, because it says Mazda Motorsports. But it's the same seat. So, and MPI is local. They're in Mooresville. I could go pick it up. Save on some shipping. So, that would help there. Still, it's an $800 seat, but $800 seat versus $1,200 seat, which is what I currently have. The OMP HDR is $1,100 actually. Yeah. And the cool factor is Mazda Motorsports. And again, it's local. I'd go pick that up tomorrow. If I were to send the money, I'd go like, hey, I'll be there before you close. And like, according to the website, it's in stock. So I'd go pick it up. So, new seat, question mark. So the seat, front bumper, splitter air dam, rear bumper, crash bars, trunk, wing situation, wheels for the brakes, wrap, all the body panels, fixed diffuser, potentially subframe. I think that is about it. Yeah. One thing I did do, I kind of impulse did, but I kind of wanted to do it for a while. So this guy in Romania, he makes his company called Rotarytronics. And on the NC gauge cluster, there's the oil pressure gauge, because the NAs and the Bs had one too. I don't know about the NA and Bs, but the NC oil pressure gauge is pretty much useless as far as like reading it for actual reading. If the needle moves, you got oil pressure, and that's all it's good for. It doesn't matter if it shows low or high. If it's moving, you got oil pressure. Pretty fucking, useless. He makes a kit that you take the needle out of that, and it's an LCD gauge that goes there, and depending on which version of the kit you want to get, I got the better one of the three options of it, because initially this version of this kit, you had to solder it into the wires in the instrument cluster. I'm like, I'm not messing with that. No. But now it's a plug and play kit. It piggybacks with the instrument cluster harness. It's great. But as far as reading oil pressure, you take the factory oil pressure out, even with the solder kit, the old kit. You take the factory oil pressure sensor out of the house, and you thread in one that reads better, and it has a special adapter harness that goes to this gauge kind of chip module that sits on the back of the cluster and gives you real oil pressure readings, like real-time readings. But the one I got, the better version of that, because it's the plug and play one, and then the better version is a Bosch oil pressure sensor with temperature readings. So I'll get oil pressure and oil temperature readings too. And not only does it show oil pressure and oil temperature, it also shows coolant temp, because the coolant temp gauge on the NC cluster is also fairly useless. The middle, like dead middle on the temp gauge, I found out because I have an AEM OBD2 gauge. Shows all kinds of OBD2 PIDs. The coolant, I can look at the coolant temp on that, and it's showing active coolant temp as PCM is reading from the sensor. Middle on the cluster gauge is anywhere from 174 to 213 degrees. And I've seen it read 174 while driving. And I've also seen it read 213 while idled on the AEM gauge. Needle does not move. So the cooling gauge on the NC cluster is also garbage. So which is why I went to the AEM thing, because it's the plug and play OBD2. Because at the time, the plug and play Rotarytronics thing did not exist. So now it does. Like, kind of impulse buy when I get it. But also, I think about a year ago, I added a shift light to the car because I didn't have an issue with shifting. I had an issue where I was lifting in spots where I knew I shouldn't be. So my thought process was, put this in like where it's a spot I know I should be standing on it and flat. The lights will go up to indicate I need to be, I'm full throttle. I'm not lifting. And if I see the lights drop, that means I lifted. And if I see in a spot where like I shouldn't have lifted, so I called it my don't be a bitch light. It's a shift light, but I use it in that regards. And it's also visually kind of cool to see in the video, like, oh, he's about to shift now, bam. It has also visually helped me to say, hey, now you can shift, because it's bright LED. But this Rotarytronics gauge has a built-in shift light. So so I can take the AEM gauge and the shift light, which is also a OBD2 thing. I got an OBD2 splitter. I can take those out, leave my OBD2 port open for regular scan tools, without having to worry about constantly messing with these things because they're glitchy with the OBD2 splitter while driving. Like, they sometimes don't work. But yeah, so that was the impulse buy I did for that. It should be coming in soon. Minimal modification. I pulled the needle off the oil pressure gauge cluster, basically double side tape it to the gauge face, and then the gauge surround, hold it in place, plug it in between the body harness and instrument cluster, and then there's 2 wires you tap on the thing for other reading, on the other connector of the cluster for readings, and then I run the oil pressure sensor to the thing, run that little special harness from that to the control module for the center unit. It's easy. So I'll get oil pressure, real oil pressure, oil temperature, which I've never had before, which wouldn't be a bad thing to have. I get to maintain getting a real coolant temp sensor, or real coolant readings. I get to integrate the shift light to it, and I can view other readings that the cluster would have too as well. And it's integrated into that, so I don't have other things going off as well. And it's right in the middle of the cluster, so it's even better than line of sight. I don't have to worry about looking this way for the temperature gauge. I don't have to worry about this way for the shift light, which I've got in the dash. It's like right there. So that's that. So yeah, so that's the plan for that. It's that wasn't a dire need. It was like it'd be cool. I kind of want it. Cars gonna be jack sensor a while. Might as well I gotta do it. Didn't need it, impulse buy, but it'll be helpful and useful. That being said, I'm gonna be selling the AEM OBD2 gauge and the shift light app, and it's a Bluetooth shift light in that you can connect your phone to it to change the settings like the light pattern, light colors, the RPM range, and save it, and it stores it. So that's really cool. I'll be selling those soon as well. If anyone may be interested, pretty cool. Both useful little tools to have. I think that is honestly it. Yeah, I honestly don't think there's anything else I need to get other than the stuff I've talked about. And I know this video is running long. Hopefully YouTube doesn't say you're not big enough to have a video this long, so. But yeah, so I guess first things first is getting a front bumper cover. That is in good enough shape. I've talked to Alex out at SNS. He says he's got some that are paint-wise not perfect, but good enough for a race car to wrap or have repainted. I'm like, let's talk, my dude. Let's talk. So once I get a front bumper, I can mount it to the car and then make an air dam for it, and then make a template, and then send a race spread. They'll make the splitter, and then I can get that going. And then once I have the splitter, I will take the air dam off and have the bumper ready for me to wrap it. So also another thing I forgot to mention, I got a fiberglass hood about a year and a half ago. Yeah, about a year and a half ago. So a friend of mine, she has a car show NC. She had a fiberglass hood with vents on it, and hood deformed on her. She had put hood struts on it, and the heat and just popped them up. So she ended up selling it to my buddy. Again, Alec at Guesswork, he bought it, and he's like, we got a cool fiberglass hood. Nothing wrong with my head currently, but the hood looks cool. It's got bigger vents on it, and it'd be awesome. It's going to suck to wrap that thing, so it's been sitting out flat in the sun for a while, and like I've let it sit out in the heat to try to bring it back. I'm gonna remount it to the car and see if it has come back flat. If it has, the plan is to run this fiberglass hood with built-in vents into it, because it looks pretty dope. Again, wrapping it gonna suck, especially because I'm planning on doing the wrapping myself, unless I can find a really good deal on someone local who wants to wrap the car at a decent price. I'm not asking for a handout, but it would certainly help to get the car wrapped at a cheaper price, if at all possible, to save money. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap it myself. It will not be perfect. It will not be perfectly pretty, but I'll do the best I can. And it will be a learning experience. But the car's been jack stands for a while, so I can do one piece at a time. So that's that. So yeah. And that's about all the stuff I need to get. Yeah. I got the insurance payback money, which is a nice little bit. It will certainly help. It will not cover all of this by any stretch of imagination, but it will help knock a lot of this out. The smallest priority is the wheel thing, because I don't have a braking issue. I want to brake it on the car, but I don't have to get it on anytime soon. There's no like, you got to have this car on the brake on the car by this time per Essex. They're like, whenever you can, cheers, put on the car. Cool. I've got a kit, obviously, but I just can't put on the car yet. So, so I guess what I'm asking of you guys is, if you are in the Charlotte-ish area, you have a 17x9, 5x114 wheel that's of like the plus 35, plus 48 offset range, and it's not heavy. I know it won't be RPF 1 light, which is 15 pounds in that size, but like nothing above 19 pounds. And even then, I don't want to go 19. I prefer a 17, 18 pound wheel. So if you got something like that and you don't mind me I don't care if there's a tire on it or not. The tire doesn't matter. I just need to see if the wheel will clear the caliper when it's on the car. That's it. So if you wouldn't mind bringing it by or tell me where to pick it up, I can just throw it on. That'd be awesome. Huge help. I'm going to reach out to a few of my friends who I know wrap professionally, see what they would charge to wrap the car. And then, yeah. So, for now, I'm going to go. Because this is, holy shit, this is running at 50 minutes long right now. And you're probably tired of hearing me rant. But that's the plan. I've now made a list, and hopefully, if I can get this work right, I will have the list next to this video, or like as a thing inside it, so that you can see what it is to do. And that, as far as future plans go, I've got in a couple weeks, I fly out to Colorado with Ryan Cheek Racing, and her husband Kyle, guest work photographer, Alec and his wife Catherine, and then my buddies, Lawrence Chu and James Curry. We're going out to Pikes Peak because Ryan is gonna go run the hill again, and she's gonna kick ass and take names in her cart, and it's gonna be awesome. And then the weekend immediately after that is Norton Hill Climb, which I will be at. Probably there hanging out, doing some work stuff, helping with that. And then after that, got some autocrosses throughout the rest of the summer. The Chasing Dragon Hill Climb, I'll be at that as well, hanging out, chilling, helping, as you do. Dave's race in September, I won't be driving in it, but it's a VIR. I'm not gonna not go hang out at VIR for a weekend. Duh. And so that's that. So in theory, next video, I will have acquired some parts, or in place to acquire some parts, and attempting to maybe get something done. Hopefully. It's a delayed process because I'm trying to find the bumpers. I need the bumper to do the splitter to do the air down, or bumper to do the air to do the splitter. So that's kind of hold up. So hopefully next video I've got something for you other than a list and me ranting. So all right, well, I'm gonna go and hopefully I can get this all work. Until next time, cheers. Drink responsibly. Yep.